Hello, good morning class. Today I will be discussing to you the subject business ethics and social responsibility. So our first topic in this subject is the nature and forms of business organization. So this will be the week 1 topic. So I will introduce myself first. I am your teacher, Mrs. Lilibeth S. Degulacion. And let us know what is the learning competency of this topic. The learning competency is differentiate the forms of business organizations, and the lesson objective is the students can differentiate the forms of business organizations. So let us know first what is business. Business is also known as an enterprise, a firm, or an agency. It refers to the organized efforts and activities of individuals to produce and sell goods and services for profit. And it is also defined as an organization or enterprising entity engaged in commercial, industrial, or professional activities. So let us know the forms of business organizations. So I will be introducing to you the three basic and the common forms. First is the sole proprietorship or the single proprietorship. The second one is partnership, and the third one is corporation. So these three are the most common business forms of business organizations. So what is then a sole or single proprietorship? It is a structure open to businesses run and owned by one entrepreneur or person. So meaning it is only run by a single person. It is a business with no separate existence from the owner, meaning the whatever are the consequences, whatever are the liabilities, it is the sole no obligation of the owner. So dili siya separated from the owner. All income and losses are taxed against their personal income tax return. And the proprietor is directly responsible for every asset, liability, profit and loss of the company. The profit and control is not shared with other person. And it is a simple, significant tax savings business. Why? Because it is the only and the sole proprietor or the single person or the entrepreneur who will be the person who is in full control of the business. And of course, the taxes will be for that person only. Okay, so let us know the advantages of sole proprietorship. It is easy to set up. It has the ease of filing tax documents, which means the proprietor files taxes as personal income, not a business income. The proprietor here has the full control. No, he has or she has the full control over all the aspects of the business. So in running the business, it is the sole proprietor or the proprietor itself will take over all of the aspects in the business in running that business. And of course, no profit sharing because siya ra may tag-iya. And there is a direct access to feedback. And these are the disadvantages of sole proprietorship. First, full responsibility, or the owner can be personally liable for business losses, meaning their personal assets are not protected against the claims of creditors. Now, so this means that whatever are the assets of that proprietor, it will be affected if in case there are liabilities that needs to be addressed to in that business. So meaning, kung unsay asset sa proprietor or sa owner, pwede na birahon if ang iyahang company naay liability or naay tulubagon sa government or anybody. No, so another disadvantage is unlimited liability. There is no separation between the entrepreneur and the business. So whatever are the liabilities, whatever are the obligation of the business, so it is the sole proprietor ang responsible of all those liabilities. Another is personal assets are directly at stake in a sole proprietor. Why? It's because, as what I've said before in the first disadvantage, no, pwede ma-claim sa creditors whatever are the proprietor or the single proprietor's asset in relation to liabilities. If the proprietor dies, the business ceases to exist. So meaning, mamatay ang owner, mamatay sad ang business. It cannot be transferred to another person. Another disadvantage is often has difficulty raising long-term capital. Why? Because the capital of a single proprietor is only limited. It has a high working capital demands. Okay, so in running a sole proprietor or single proprietor business, you have to make sure, being a proprietor, that your company is protected in the event of any unforeseen circumstances. In what way? You need to register your company into an insurance, or you need to mukuha og insurance for your business so that you will be protected of whatever unseen circumstances that goes along in your business. Okay, so let's have our key takeaways of the sole proprietorship. The key points here, let us discuss the key points that we have already discussed. No? The sole proprietorship is a type of business structure open to businesses run and owned by one entrepreneur. So you have to remember this one. And it is a large advantage of the sole proprietor or the owner. No, it is a large advantage of the sole proprietorship structure is no, ang easy ra siya i-build ang business mismo. The sole proprietorship structure does not require filling of articles or of incorporations, regular meetings, or election of board. A sole proprietor also files taxes as personal income, not a business income. So the other side of this process is the structure's main disadvantage. There is no separation between the entrepreneur and the business, meaning all the liabilities of the business he has. So pwede gyud ba claim no sa creditor ang iyahang properties. This means that the sole proprietor is personally liable for business losses. Also, if the proprietor dies, the business ceases to exist. So, ma-close ang business. So, here, the key terms are entrepreneurs and proprietors. So, when we say entrepreneur, it is a person who organizes and operates a business venture and assumes of the operation of that business. A proprietor is the owner. Okay, so I think sole proprietorship is already clear. And let's go into the second one, the second form. The second form is partnership. So what is then partnership? It is a general partnership. Now, there are so many types of partnership. And one is a general partnership. It is the common one. So two or more people can start a business as a co-owner with no special formalities, directly controlling the partnership and making binding decisions with simple majority vote. Partners are taxed individually on their share of the partnership's profits. So by default, the profits are shared equally among the partners. In partnership also, there is a partnership agreement will almost invariably expressly provide for the manner in which profits and losses are being shared by the partners. So depending na sa partner, they have to make an agreement no about the profit sharing or the sharing of losses and profits. Okay, there are three forms of partnership. The first one is general partnership, the second is limited partnership, and the joint venture. So a general partnership, this refers to when a partner form their business by signing a partnership agreement, and it is easy to form and dissolve. It has also a lot of power. meaning the partners here has lots of power and a lot of mutual responsibility. They will be sharing mutual responsibility of the business. This disadvantages of this one, the general partnerships are there are more partners, meaning they can generate more capital. And of course, added talent, because each of the partner might have different talents and they can share that one to the partnership. And another one is divided responsibility. Why? Because both partners, or if in case there are two or three partners, so they can divide the responsibility of the business. Meaning, of course, they will be sharing the liabilities. They will be sharing also the works in the business. So there is also greater business networks because each of them might have a business network. And another one is the tax advantages. So there are, while there are advantages, these are also the disadvantage. No, there are three disadvantages. First, unlimited liability, wherein each partner also has the total liability, meaning they are personally responsible for all the business debts and legal obligations. So if in case one of the partners has the mangutang for the business, the other partner is also liable of that because that utang or that liability is in name of the business. So another disadvantage is the partners can disagree. All partners have independent business contracts and loans. Now, if in case they have independent business loans or independent contracts or loans, they might disagree because both partners can decide of the business. And this is the common problem in a partnership business. No, so profit also is shared equally here. No, or might be depende sa ilang agreement. But there is always a person nga imong ma-sharean of the profit. Profits are usually split evenly, but depende sa gi-establish nga terms and conditions of the partners. Okay, so let us go to into the limited partnership. So in limited partnership, there is an easy ra siya i-create. Is one general partner who is fully responsible for the business and one or more limited partners who provide the money but do not actively manage the business. So meaning, in the limited partnership, there is a tendency that one of the partners will be the one who will invest money for the capital and the other one of the partner will be doing all the manipulation in the business. So, meaning, ang usa mag-invest lang sa capital and the other one is the one who will manage the entire operation of the business. So here, the limited partners receive dividends based on the amount they have invested in the business. So since that partner or that limited partner is only sharing a money or investing a money as a working capital of the business, so the dividends will be based on the amount that that partner is had invested in that business. So another one is limited partners invest in the business for financial returns and are not responsible for its debts and liabilities. So here the limited partners, though he is investing no money for the business for financial returns, but he is not responsible for any debts of that and liabilities of the business. Why? Because he is only the limited partner of that business. He is not the one. Dili siya maoy nag-operate of that business. So limited lang ang iyang liability. As we can see in the sole proprietorship, now all of the liabilities will be shouldered by the proprietor, the single proprietor. But here in the partnership, It could be that you will be investing a money for a working capital, but then the liability is only limited up to what you have invested in the business. So another one is a silent. If a silent partner, it is the silent partner's limited liability means limited partners can share in the profits, but they cannot lose more than what they have invested. So meaning a silent partner who invested the money as a working capital is only limited up to no kung unsa iyang gi-invest nga money. Now, whatever are the profits, whatever are the losses or the liability of that partnership is only limited sa iyang gi-invest nga money. Okay, so here the limited partner also is not considered self-employed. No, nga naman, and will not be subjected to self-employment contracts. Nga naman, because when you are a limited partner, you are only giving the money to the business, or you are only investing the money as a working capital sa business. Meaning, you are not self-employed in the business. Unlike with the other partner who is in the operation of the entire business, he is the one who is self-employed of the business. Okay, so I think limited partnership is already understood. The other one is let us discuss the advantages and the disadvantages of this limited partnership. First, advantage. Share in profits and losses without needing to be involved in the business. Of course, sharing of profits and losses because without needing to be involved in the business, because it could be that you are only a limited partner, no, or you are only a silent partner of the business. So limited lang yun ang imuhang involvement of the business because you are only sharing or you are only investing the money as a working capital. So another advantage is limited personal financial risk for limited partners because you are not obliged or you are not fully obliged of whatever are the liability of the business. Tax via your own income tax return, easier to attract new investor. Another the other advantages are general partnerships are fully liable. General partners are fully liable of this business. Limited partners can assume general obligation when they become active in the business. So when you are a limited partner, meaning when you say a limited partner, it is the person who only invested the money as a working capital. No, you are not fully in the operation of the business. But if then you will assume the general operation of the business, or you will assume into the operation of the business, then you can be you can be active in the business. So meaning you will become a general partner, or you have the general responsibility of the business. So the state taxes and fees. No, so you might be paying state taxes and more fees compared with the sole proprietorship type of business. So the third one is joint venture. So here, joint venture means that both there are two persons having different companies. So both of them have different companies, and they will be investing, or they will join the venture for a specific project. So these business arrangements are between two or more parties, often established businesses that agree to combine their resources in order to accomplish a specific project. So an example of this one is construction of a building. So might be an architect or an engineer who has different businesses might bind their resources or might agree to combine the resources in order to accomplish a special project. So this is what we call a joint venture. So partners should establish a new entity when forming a joint venture. Original companies remain separate entities. So all of those original companies of each of the partner will be separate from their ventured joint business. So meaning they will be registering They will create a new entity, create a new business, create a new joint venture name. Okay, so separate ang ilang previous businesses. Dili siya connected with this joint venture business. So another also, it allows for the participants to have a clear sense of how taxes will be paid. Business organizations arrangements remains valid until the completion of a project base within a specific period or until mulas or mailapse ang period of the joint venture or mahuman ang project. So meaning, the arrangement is only up to mo end ang project. Within ra siya sa period nga naa ang ilahang project nga joint ventures ilang duha. Okay, so that is another advantage is increased capacity and access to resources because they have both joint venture, no, so shared liability with parties, access to new markets. The disadvantages are potential different visions for the joint ventures, imbalanced inputs and outputs between parties. Why? Because there might be a tendency that one of the partner will have more input than the other one because they are having different resources. So diha na sad ang diferensya mo come up ang disagreement, no? Lack of communication could the lack of communication or the lack of participation of each of the partner could make the business, no, or the project put into at risk, no? So dili sila meaning kung you are into a joint venture, since imbalance man ang input and outputs between the two partners, so might be there is a tendency that ang project investing into the project or might be in the operational of the project, so imbalance man siya, might be there is a tendency nga magka-clash yun ang partners, especially if they lack communication. Okay, each party is responsible for the cost of the project and will be associated with any profits or loss. Cost remains separate from their existing businesses, no, for a specific or other business interest. So meaning whatever are the invested cost in that joint venture, maura gyud na siya ang cost nga naa dinha. The other party or the other partner cannot claim for an additional nga wala sa ilahang agreement. Okay, I think that's all for the joint venture. So here, let us discuss the key takeaways, no, of the partnership. So the key points we had discussed in partnerships are: the partnership is a type of business structure open to businesses run and owned by two or more entrepreneurs. It is a large advantage of the partnership structure is its ease, no? So dali ra kayo siyang i-create ang business. In terms of filing and tax treatment, so dali ra sad kayo ang ilahang pag-remit sa taxes, no, pag-file sa taxes, because dili siya una nakakuti, and this partnership dili na need i-register sa SEC. So here, limited lang gihapon ang iyahang business filing of documents. So a general partnership can be started with no special formalities, and the partners are taxed individually on their share of the partnership's profits. So the structure's main disadvantage is that partnership owners can be personally liable for business losses, and the partnership is not a separate entity from the owners or entrepreneurs, unlike a corporation. So the types of partnership beyond the general partnership have developed to mitigate some of the disadvantages of the structure, and limited partnerships and limited liability partnerships are two main examples of this one. So the key terms discussed here is partnership, which is an association of two or more people to conduct a business, and liability, which is an obligation, debt, or responsibility owed to someone. Okay, that's all for partnership, and let us continue with the next form of business, which is corporation. When we say corporation, it is a group. No, it is a group of people united in one body for a specific purpose. It is a legal entity that is separate and distinct from its owner. Either could be either a government owned or a privately owned corporation. No, so pwede gid na siya government owned, pwede po siya private owned corporation. And when we say distinct from its owner, ang entity is separate. The legal entity is separate and distinct from its owner. Why? Because the individual here will be called a shareholder. So we'll discuss it later. So it is a privately owned. If it is a privately owned corporation, for-profit corporation is owned by its shareholders who elect a board of directors to direct the corporation and hire managerial staff. So, if it is a privately owned corporation, ang ga-invest din will be called the shareholders. And all of those shareholders who own the corporation will elect a board of directors, and of course will hire managerial staff to manage the business. So a privately owned also for-profit corporation can either be privately held by a small group of individuals or publicly held with public trade shares listed on a stock exchange. So owners of a corporation have limited liability. Corporations also enjoy most of the rights and responsibilities. No? And they can enter a contract, loan, borrow money, or can be sued or can sue or sued, hire employees, own assets, and pay taxes. So here it is called a legal person. Okay, what are the advantages of corporation? It may last. No, the life of this one, the form of business is 50 years. And it is limited. It has a limited liability for its owners as long as there is no personal guarantees on the business-related obligation such as bank loans or lease. Ease of transfer of ownership or transfer of stocks. As what I've said, every individual can pwede mo invest og stock in a corporation. And if you do not like na sa imong stock, you can transfer this ownership. Imo lang ni ibaligya imong stock, and katong makapalit will be an owner na pod sa corporation. So, ability to raise bigger capital. Why? Because in a corporation, pwede gyud kaayo nga daghan ang investors. Okay, so the disadvantages of corporation: difficult and costly to establish. Why? Because it will need bigger capital. Formal charter is required, meaning you have to register this corporation business sa SEC, no? Sa higher na gyud siya, not only DTI, not only in the BIR or in the local, but also sa SEC. So daghan na kay siya requirements in registering or making a corporation. It is subject to double taxation, meaning the income of the corporation will be taxed. No, whatever are the earnings of the corporation will be taxed. And after that one, kung unsay mabilin, that will be divided, no, for the a share to the shareholders. No, so meaning tawagon na to og dividend ang profit sharing sa stockholders. So that dividend received by the stockholders lukatan na sa nila og another tax. So meaning the money they gain or they earn from the corporation which is already taxed, ila na pod nang bayaran og another tax sa ilahang end sa stockholder as dividend. Okay, so duha na ka taxation ang nahitabo. First, sa earnings sa corporation as a whole, and the other one sa individual stockholder receiving the dividend. Okay, bankruptcy here. No, bankruptcy even at the corporate level does not discharge tax obligations. So, unlike with the sole proprietorship and the partnership, tax obligation in a corporation is not directly discharged to the stockholders. So, separate gid na siya. No, kung sa partnership and sa single proprietorship, it is the owner ang directly makakuan sa tax. No, all the liabilities will be charged to the owner, the partners, or might be the single proprietor. But here in the corporation, the stockholder is not directly obliged of any tax obligation or any liability of the corporation. So this is now the structure of a corporation. First, the shareholders, or what we call the stockholders, who invested in the corporation will elect somebody or will elect persons to be the board of directors of the corporation. Or it could be they will appoint. No, so after that one, after electing the board of directors, they will elect a president or appoint a president. Okay, so let us review what is the corporation. Let us discuss the key takeaways of the corporation and the key points here. Compared to sole proprietorship and partnerships, the corporation is more complicated to found and maintain. One of its disadvantages, because in a corporation, you have to submit, you have to comply many documents, no, to maintain the corporation. So the incorporator must file articles of incorporation as well as hold an organization meeting to elect a board of directors. So the structure also generally requires the maintenance of at least annual reporting, including annual financial statements and other data. So here in a corporation needs more employees to maintain its financial data. So one of the most favorable advantages of the corporate structure is the protection of personal assets of stockholders, directors, and officers. They are limited in liability to the amount they have invested in the corporation. So here, ang liability of the stockholders is only limited to what they have invested in the corporation. So in case ang corporation dako og utang or daghang liabilities, dili affected ang personal asset of the stockholders. Also, because the corporation is an entity separate from its owners, ownership is easily transferable. You can sell your stock to another person as easy as that. Similarly, the corporation does not cease to exist with the death of the shareholders, directors, or officers of the corporation. Unlike with partnership and single proprietorship, if the owner dies, automatic close ang business. But with corporation, if a shareholder or a stockholder dies, or there is death in the director, in the officer of the corporation, so the corporation will not be affected. Still, it will exist. So the key terms we had discussed is liability and incorporate. So when we say liability, it is an obligation, debt, or responsibility owed to someone. Incorporate means to form into a legal company. So here in the corporation, in incorporating, so it is more complicated because of the many documents that you have to comply aside from the articles of the incorporation that you have to maintain. Okay, so I think that's all for the discussion for today. I would like to leave this one from Richard Branson. A big business starts small, and the true entrepreneur is a doer, not a dreamer. So, taken from Nolan Bushnell. Okay, so I guess, and I believe, or if you have questions, you can PM me, you can chat me, or you can comment in our group page. I will be posting this video, I will be posting this slide in our group page, and you can visit time to time. Thank you, God bless you, and keep safe, everyone. Goodbye.